Whether we live near a coastline or not, seafood is an increasingly popular option for Americans. The U.S. is now the second largest consumer of seafood worldwide, right after China. The Centers for Disease Control says about 20% of adults are eating fish at least twice a week. But choosing your fish doesn't always mean getting what you're after. Meg Oliver has that story. Good morning, Meg. Tell us more.
Good morning, Michelle. Recent investigations and studies have shown mislabeling, sometimes due to error, but often the result of outright fraud, is rampant in the industry, showing up at both in the marketplace and on restaurant menus. I spoke to local merchants who told us exactly what to look for.
There's no antibiotics and there's no growth enhancers. There's none of that.
Every week, Lisa Rosenberg peppers her local seafood market with plenty of questions.
Norah King
is the one from New Zealand.
Right.
From salmon and scallops to shrimp, Lisa wants to know when and where everything came from.
Just knowing that the seafood we're getting is fresh and coming from a country that has shipped it in a timely manner and markets it and is honest with their marketing practices.
Those practices have come under fire around the globe with rampant fraud in all stages of the seafood industry. One study of retailers found seafood like grouper, cod, and snapper may be mislabeled up to 87% of the time, swapped out for less desirable and cheaper varieties. For example, only 7 of the 120 samples of red snapper were actually red snapper.
It's a very big problem, and the issue is that once it's prepared, there's really no way to check it other than DNA testing, which a lot of companies are now doing.
Vinnie Milbourne hails from a long line of fishermen. The fishmonger at Greenpoint Fish and Lobster Company in Brooklyn, New York, specializes in local, domestic, and traceable species. His storefront acts as a fish market, raw bar, and restaurant.
Where do you buy your fish?
I have a network of small boat fishermen and wharves all over the country that are shipping to me daily through the air or by truck, and we are processing every single day to bring in high quality fresh seafood. This is a beautiful steelhead trout.
Vinny not only knows where his fish come from, he can tell a tale about each one.
This striped bass came from Massachusetts, from a fishing vessel named Stanley by a guy I know named Seth.
That personal connection is hard to find. It's estimated more than 90% of the seafood consumed in the U.S. is imported, and less than 1% is tested by the government.
Is it better to buy organic seafood?
Not really. In this country, there's no legal standard for organic for seafood.
No legal standard?
No, when they did the organic standards for meat and poultry and chicken, they excluded seafood. So when you see organic on seafood, it's not a legally enforceable standard, so they can put that on just about anything.
Larry Olmsted is the author of Real Food, Fake Food. He spent years researching the unregulated food industry, calling fish the most frequently faked food Americans buy.
The inexpensive fish that are being substituted, a lot of them are farmed in Southeast Asia from places that have been shown over and over again to use bad practices, ban drugs, ban pesticides. The bottom line is a lot of the fish that we eat, we don't know where it came from or how it was produced at all.
So how dangerous is this?
I think it's pretty dangerous. There's tens of millions of people that get sick from foodborne illness every year that the CDC cannot explain.
If they don't clean it up and we don't see more regulations, what could happen in the future?
The destructions of the ocean, and it's the single biggest source of protein in the world. We have a burgeoning global population. Since the history of mankind, having enough food to eat has been the #1 priority of people. So it's really important that we take care of the oceans.
Larry says the best course of action for consumers is to buy whole fish. He says don't be intimidated. You can have them cut it and clean it for you, so then you know exactly what you're bringing home to your families.
Pretty stunning. It's stunning there's no legal standard for organic seafood in this country.
No, and if you're going to go and you want to buy organic seafood, make sure it comes from Canada, New Zealand, or Australia. They're the only countries that have regulations.
And at a time when regulations are being cut left and right, it sounds like this is a place where we really need more.
Yeah.
All right, Meg, thank you so much.